Some people move through life like they are just starting a long trip. They want to try everything. They chase noise and fun. They get pulled into drama easily. They feel like life is a big game they must win. Other people feel very different. They may look normal on the outside, but inside they feel older than their age. Not old in a tired way only, but old in a deep way. They watch the world and feel like they have seen it before. They do not feel excited by the same things that excite others. Edgar Cayce often spoke about the soul's journey. He described life as a classroom. The soul comes back again and again, learning lessons and growing in love and wisdom. Some souls are young in this school. Some souls are old. If you are an old soul, you may feel like you do not fully belong here. And if you are an old soul preparing for your final incarnation, you may feel something even stronger. You may feel like you are finishing something. Like a long chapter is closing. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to bring comfort. Because many spiritually sensitive people feel misunderstood. They feel different. They wonder why life feels heavy, even when they try their best to stay strong. So let us move slowly. Let us take this one step at a time. First, we must understand the difference between a young soul and an old soul. A young soul is still learning how to be human in a simple way. They are here to build a strong self. They learn about choice, desire, power, pride, and fear. They often care a lot about status, money, winning, and being seen. This does not make them bad. It is just their stage. An old soul has already explored much of that. They have lived through many types of lives, many roles, many struggles. They have been the strong one and the weak one, the leader and the follower, the rich and the poor. They have tasted the world's rewards, and they have also seen how empty those rewards can feel. So an old soul often wants something else. They want truth. They want peace. They want meaning. And when an old soul is nearing completion, the world can feel even more strange. The games people play can feel loud and confusing. The chasing can feel pointless. The arguing can feel like smoke. The soul may feel pulled toward stillness, prayer, healing, and quiet understanding. Now, here are 7 signs you may be an old soul preparing for your final incarnation. The first sign is this. You feel emotionally exhausted by earthly drama. You may still care about people. You may still feel love. But you have little energy for fighting, gossip, jealousy, or small power gains. When you see people arguing over things that do not matter, you may feel tired in your chest. Not because you think you are better than them, but because you have lived through it before. It feels like an old story you do not want to repeat. You might even surprise yourself. You might notice you no longer have the strength to pretend. You no longer want to smile and nod while someone speaks with hate or pettiness. You just want truth and calm. This can make you feel alone. Others may say, "Why do you take everything so seriously?" Or, "Why are you so sensitive?" But the truth is, your soul is not weak. Your soul is simply finished with certain lessons. You have learned what drama teaches. You know where it leads. And you do not want to live there anymore. The second sign is this. You feel detached from ambition, even if you are capable. You may have talent. You may be smart. You may have skills others admire. But you may not feel driven by the same hunger. You might not care about being famous. You might not care about climbing higher just to prove something. This does not mean you are lazy. It means your inner compass points to something deeper. You may still work hard. You may still build a life. But you want your life to mean something. You want your work to help. You want your days to feel honest. If success comes, you may be grateful. But you do not worship it. And if success does not come in the way the world expects, you may still feel peaceful, because your soul is not here only to collect trophies. The third sign is this. You carry deep compassion that feels almost painful. You do not just understand pain in your mind. You feel it in your body. When someone suffers, you can sense it even when they do not speak. You might walk into a room and feel heavy, as if the air is holding sadness. You may have been called too sensitive your whole life. But this sensitivity is not a mistake. It is one of the ways an old soul serves. Old souls often become quiet healers without trying. People may tell you their secrets. Strangers may open up to you. Children and animals may trust you quickly. You may feel called to comfort others, even when you are the one who is tired. This kind of compassion can be hard in a world that moves fast. But it is also sacred. The fourth sign is this: you feel a quiet inner knowing that you are finishing something. This is not always a clear thought. Sometimes it is just a feeling, like a soft bell ringing far away. You might look back on your life and feel that every pain, every loss, every hard lesson was shaping you for a final purpose. You may feel less interested in collecting new experiences just for fun, and more interested in closing loops, forgiving, letting go, making peace, saying the words that need to be said. You may feel pulled to simplify, to clear clutter, to release old anger, to stop carrying grudges. It may feel like your soul wants to travel light, and you may not even know why. You just know it matters. If you feel these signs, do not panic. It does not mean you will leave tomorrow. It does not mean a date is set. It simply means your soul is reaching a mature stage, where the heart becomes more important than the stage, and love becomes more important than control. And now we continue, slowly, into the next signs. The fifth sign is this: you feel drawn to solitude, silence, and spiritual rest. This does not mean you hate people. It means your nervous system needs quiet to breathe. You may enjoy gentle conversations, but loud crowds can drain you. Too much noise can make you feel shaky inside. You might notice that silence feels like medicine. When you are alone, you can hear your own heart again. You can feel God, Spirit, or the divine in a way that is hard to feel when life is too busy. You may not even call it God. You may just call it peace. But you know it is real. Old souls often need time away from the world to reset. They may pray, read spiritual books, sit near water, or simply stare at the sky. They may feel close to people who have passed on. They may feel guided in dreams. They may feel comfort in signs that others ignore. And if you are nearing completion, this need for quiet can grow stronger. It can feel like your soul is turning inward, like a flower closing at night. Not to die, but to rest. The sixth sign is this: you are less afraid of death, and more curious about what comes after. You may still feel sadness about death, especially if you have lost someone you love. Grief can be deep and real, but death itself may not feel like the end to you. Something inside you whispers that life continues. You might feel that the people you miss are not truly gone. You may sense them in moments of stillness. You may feel them in a dream that is too vivid to forget. You may smell their perfume, hear their voice in your mind, or feel a sudden warmth when you ask for help. This does not have to be spooky. It can be gentle. Edgar Cayce spoke often about the soul leaving the body and continuing its journey. He described the body as a tool, not the true self. If these ideas comfort you, it may be because your soul recognizes them. An old soul is not always fearless, but they are often more accepting. They may feel that death is a doorway, not a wall, and that feeling can change how they live. They may try to love more. They may try to forgive faster. They may stop wasting time on hatred. The seventh sign is this: you feel misunderstood, even by people who love you. This can be one of the hardest parts. You may be surrounded by family and still feel alone. You may speak and feel like your true meaning is not heard. You may share something deep, and someone replies with a joke or a simple answer, and you feel a quiet ache. It is not because others are cruel. It is because your inner world is deeper than most people can see. If you are nearing your final incarnation, the gap can feel wider. You may feel that your soul is speaking a language others do not know. You may feel like you are living in two worlds at once. One foot in daily life, and one foot in the invisible world. This can make you question yourself. You might think, why can't I just be normal? Or, why do I feel so much? Or, why do small things hurt me so deeply? But here is the truth. Being misunderstood is often part of the assignment. Old souls are not here to blend in perfectly. They are here to carry a certain kind of light. And light often feels strange to people who have lived in darkness for a long time. Now, you may be wondering something important. If final incarnations are real, why would the final one be so hard? Why would a soul, so close to completion, face illness, loss, loneliness, or emotional exhaustion? This is where the teaching becomes deeper. Many people think the final life would be easy, like a victory lap, like a reward. But in Cayce-style spiritual thinking, the final incarnation can be the most intense, not because God is punishing you, but because the final lessons are often about love without conditions. In earlier stages, the soul learns through outer things: money, power, romance, conflict, survival. But in later stages, the lessons move inward. The soul must learn peace that does not depend on comfort, faith that does not depend on proof, love that does not depend on being loved back. So the final incarnation may strip away distractions. It may remove false friends. It may soften the body. It may create a life where you cannot run from yourself. And that can feel heavy. If you have felt emotional exhaustion, it may not be because you are broken. It may be because your soul is tired of carrying what is not yours. It may be because your soul is calling you back to what is real. Sometimes, the final incarnation includes grief, because grief cracks open the heart. It breaks the hard shell. It teaches you what matters. It teaches you to hold life gently. Sometimes, the final incarnation includes illness, because illness forces stillness. It forces surrender. It forces you to stop performing and start listening. And sometimes, the final incarnation includes being misunderstood, because you are learning to stand in truth even when no one claps. This is not easy. And if you are living it, you deserve validation. You are not weak for feeling tired. You are not failing because you cannot chase the world anymore. You are not too much because your heart feels everything. You may simply be in a sacred stage of completion. So what do you do with this? You do not need to announce it to the world. You do not need to prove anything. You simply live in a way that honors your soul. Rest when you need rest. Say no when you need to say no. Forgive what you can. Release what you cannot carry. And remember that your sensitivity may be the very sign that you are close to home. Now let us go even deeper, because there is something many people do not understand. Final incarnations are often the hardest, and also the most misunderstood. You might look at your life and think, why am I going through this now? Haven't I suffered enough? You may feel like you have already done so much inner work. You may feel like you have already grown. So why does it still hurt? This is where the idea of completion becomes very real. When a soul is young, it can make mistakes and not feel much. It can chase things and not notice the emptiness. It can hurt people and not fully understand the cost. It can stay busy and avoid the deeper questions. But when a soul is old, it cannot escape so easily. An old soul feels the weight of choices. It feels the truth underneath words. It senses what is hidden. It cannot pretend for long. So the final life can feel like everything is turned up louder inside you. A comment that seems small can sting deeply. A goodbye can feel like the whole world is shifting. A loss can change you forever. Not because you are fragile, but because you are awake. And when you are awake, you feel more. This is also why many old souls feel they do not fit into modern life. The world can feel rushed. People can feel distracted that so many things are shallow, and you may feel like you are drowning in noise. You may crave simple goodness, kind voice, a quiet home, a few true friends, gentle purpose. You may even feel that your heart is not built for this harsh pace. If you feel that, listen carefully. Your heart is not wrong. It is remembering something older. Now, let us speak about the young soul and old soul difference again. But in a simple way, a young soul says, "How can I get more?" An old soul says, "How can I give more?" A young soul says, "How can I be seen?" An old soul says, "How can I be true?" A young soul says, "How can I win?" An old soul says, "How can I heal?" If you feel that shift inside you, it matters, but the hardest part is this. Old souls often live lives where they are not celebrated. They may be quiet. They may be private. They may not have many people cheering them on. They may even look like they are falling behind in the world's eyes. They may not keep up with trends. They may not care about fancy things. They may not have the energy to keep proving themselves. And people may misunderstand that. They may call you lazy. They may call you cold. They may say you are too serious. They may say you are depressing. But they do not see what is really happening. Your soul is pulling away from illusion. Your soul is preparing for freedom. Now, here is a hidden truth that can bring comfort. Many old souls carry a mission that is not loud. It is not always a public mission. Sometimes the mission is simply to be a calm presence in a chaotic family. Sometimes the mission is to love someone who feels unloved. Sometimes the mission is to show patience in a world that is cruel. Sometimes the mission is to survive and to keep your heart open while you do. If you have been through grief, you may have noticed something. Grief can break you, but it can also open you. It can make you softer. It can make you more honest. It can make you stop pretending. It can make you realize how short this life feels. And in a strange way, grief can make you more spiritual, because it forces you to ask, where did they go? Are they still near? Does love die? And the deepest answer many old souls find is this: love does not die. The body ends, but love continues. The connection continues. The soul continues. That is why so many spiritually sensitive people feel signs, dreams, and quiet moments of presence after someone passes. Now, if you are watching this and thinking, this sounds like me, let me reassure you, you do not have to be perfect to be an old soul. You can still get angry. You can still feel fear. You can still struggle. Being an old soul does not mean you are always calm and wise. It means you keep returning to truth. It means you keep trying to love, even when it is hard. It means you learn from pain instead of letting it make you cruel. And if you are nearing completion, it may mean something else too. It may mean your pain has meaning. Not the kind of meaning that makes the pain good. Pain is still pain. Loss is still loss. Illness is still frightening. Exhaustion is still real. But meaning can be the thread that helps you keep going. So here's a simple way to hold this teaching. If you feel tired of drama, it may be because your soul is done with it. If you feel detached from ambition, it may be because your soul wants peace more than praise. If you feel deep compassion, it may be because you are here to heal. If you feel like you are finishing something, it may be because you are. And if you feel misunderstood, it may be because your path is not meant to be crowded. Now, I want to speak directly to you. You are not falling apart. You are being refined. You are not too sensitive. You are spiritually aware. You are not broken because you feel exhausted. You may be carrying a sacred weight. So, take a slow breath. Let your heart rest for a moment. And ask yourself one quiet question. What if your weakness is not weakness at all? What if it is your spiritual assignment? If this message spoke to you, Take a moment to reflect. You can share in the comments which sign you relate to most. And if you know someone who is grieving, tired, or feeling alone on their path, you can gently send this to them. And remember, you are not here by accident, you are not forgotten, and your soul's journey has not been wasted. It has been preparing you for a kind of peace that the world cannot give and cannot take away. As we come to the end, let us hold everything together with calm and clarity. If you are an old soul, life may feel like a long road you have walked many times. You may have tried many roles. You may have loved and lost. You may have built things and watched them fade. You may have learned that control does not stop pain, and pretending does not create peace. And if you are preparing for your final incarnation, you may feel something even deeper. You may feel that time is more precious than it used to be. You may feel that your heart cannot tolerate lies anymore. You may feel that your body and spirit are asking for a simpler life. You may feel that certain doors are closing, not as punishment, but as protection. This is why the final incarnation can be so confusing. From the outside, other people may not see the spiritual meaning at all. They may say, you should move on. They may say, you should toughen up. They may say, you should be grateful. They may say, everyone has problems. But those words often miss the point, because the final incarnation is not about looking fine. It is about becoming true. That is about clearing what is false. It is about learning love at the deepest level. And the deepest level of love often looks like this. You stop trying to earn your worth. You stop trying to prove you deserve rest. You stop trying to perform strength. You stop trying to be understood by everyone. You begin to live from the inside out. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop sacrificing your soul to keep others comfortable. Now, let us revisit the 7 signs in a gentle way, so you can feel their meaning as one message. 1. You feel emotionally exhausted by drama. 2. You feel detached from ambition, even if you could chase success. 3. You carry deep compassion. That can feel heavy. 4. You feel like you are finishing something inside. 5. You feel drawn to solitude and spiritual rest. 6. You feel less fear of death and more trust in what is beyond. 7. You feel misunderstood, even when you try to explain yourself. If these signs match your life, you do not need to label yourself. You do not need to argue with anyone about it. You do not need to turn it into a debate. This is not about proving a belief. This is about receiving comfort. Because many people who carry these signs also carry grief. Maybe you lost a parent. Maybe you lost a partner. Maybe you lost a child. Maybe you lost your health. Maybe you lost your old self. And grief can make you feel like you are walking through fog. You may wake up and feel tired before the day even starts. You may feel numb. You may feel angry. You may feel guilty for smiling. You may feel guilty for not smiling. You may feel like no one truly understands what you carry. If that is you, let this be said clearly. Your grief is not a weakness. It is proof that you loved. And love is one of the highest lessons the soul learns. In Edgar Cayce style thinking, love is not just an emotion. It is a force. It is a spiritual power. It is something that grows through lifetimes. So when you grieve, it can feel like you are breaking. But you may also be expanding. Grief can stretch the heart until it can hold more compassion, more wisdom. More softness. More truth. And yes, more tears. Now, let us speak about illness and emotional exhaustion too. Because many old souls experience this in the final stage. Sometimes the body becomes sensitive. Sometimes the nervous system feels overloaded. Sometimes the heart feels worn down. Sometimes sleep does not fully restore you. Sometimes you feel like you are carrying invisible weight. If that is you, you deserve gentleness. You do not have to fight yourself. You do not have to shame yourself. You can treat your spirit like you would treat a tired Child. With patience. With warmth. With steady care. And you can remember that healing is not always loud. Sometimes healing is a slow return to peace. A quiet step. A soft decision. A deep breath. A kind boundary. A prayer whispered in the dark. Now, here is one more hidden truth. Old souls often choose hard lives, not because they want pain, but because they want to serve. They want to learn how to love, where love is difficult. They want to shine where the world is cold. They want to carry light into places that feel forgotten. So if your life has felt harder than you expected, it does not mean you were abandoned. It may mean you are strong in a spiritual way. It may mean you are trusted with deep lessons. And it may mean you are closer to completion than you realize. So what can you do now after hearing all of this? You can do something simple. You can listen to your life with more respect. You can stop calling your sensitivity a flaw. You can stop calling your tiredness laziness. You can stop calling your quiet nature boring. You can see them as signals. As messages. As guidance. And you can choose one small action that honors your soul. Maybe it is resting without guilt. Maybe it is forgiving one person, not for them, but for your freedom. Maybe it is letting go of one old story that keeps you trapped. Maybe it is spending 10 minutes in silence each day. Maybe it is asking for help. And if you feel called, you can share in the comments which sign felt the most true for you. And what are you learning right now in this stage of your journey? If you stayed to the end, I want you to hear this final reassurance. You are not alone. You are not crazy. You are not too different. You are a soul in a deep season of life. And even if others do not understand your path still matters. Slowly, quietly, surely. You are returning to what is real.